And Quincy, welcome to the stage. Come on over. Give them a round of applause. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'm hoping that one of you has a second microphone. Yeah, we can use this one in the meantime. First of all, welcome and thank you for coming over. So yeah, Kinky, your relationship. I would first like to find out what does your relationship look like and how is kink involved. Maybe we start with Quincy.
Oh God, I think we start with Spot. no, I can start. So for me, it's a little bit interesting. So my partner and I, we've been together about 5 years, and we have 2 slaves. So for us, it's about sort of what we connect with internally, and then we have fun when we explore with them. One lives close, one lives far, so I think that gives us a good balance at that point. But that's, yeah, pretty much it.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. Yeah, so I am happily engaged with a vanilla guy, and I have various partners for various needs. So kink in my relationship is having submissives on the side. Sounds a bit corny maybe, but yeah, I have a slave in Boston, and I am currently dating 2 more submissives that is around us somewhere. One taking photos over there and one standing over there. So yeah, I practice a lot of BDSM. I do a lot of master-slave stuff. And yeah, that's my situation. I've been an own slave myself for 5 years. So I come from the bottom, I was going to say, without putting too much, emphasis on that. But yeah, exactly. So yeah, I come from the more old school BDSM background.
Hello. My kink name is Momo. I'm from the Netherlands, Mr. Rubber Netherlands this year, but don't be misled, I'm actually also a rubber puppy. In terms of my relationship, I am very happily partnered with my boyfriend, who is also my alpha puppy. If you see this hunk of a Hercules boy right there with a First Lady sash, say hi to him, because that's my alpha right there. And he doesn't like it when people pay him attention, so everybody look at him. Hi. So yeah, in terms of my relationship, we're both boyfriends and have a BDSM power dynamic.
I'm not sure. Yeah, now it's working. And Spot, you mentioned that you have a vanilla relationship. You have a fiance already for 15 years. How did you introduce kink into that relationship? Because if he's not into it and you are, how does that work?
Yeah, so I discovered Daniel, my fiance, when I was 19, so I was fairly young. And as you all know, sexuality is fluid. It changes over time, especially when you're 19 and 20 and 21. And at the age of 22, a friend of mine invited me to SLM Stockholm, Scandinavian Leathermen Stockholm, for an open house. So we went for the open house, and there I saw this DS couple for the very first time. There was a guy sitting on a bar stool drinking a beer, and there was a submissive on the floor drinking beer from a bowl. And I was like, boom! That was the first time I ever saw this. I didn't even know I had this within me. So naturally, since we had a monogamous relationship at that point, we tried to figure out how to develop this within our 4 walls. So we took a BDSM course for beginners and really tried to find a way to establish this within our, I'm not going to say dynamic, because we were perfectly equal, and we still are. And that was the problem. After a year of practicing, I realized that power exchange is what I'm really, really into. So I then kind of pulled the brake and said, I can't do this with you anymore. I think, and that was very frustrating, because I felt like I was pushing the relationship somewhere where it couldn't go, and he felt shit because he couldn't give me anything. Ooh, lights! Because he couldn't give me everything that I needed. So we stagnated for about 2 years and really tried to work through that. But with a lot of conversation, we could eventually find a third partner for me to practice with safely. I started dom dating at that point. That was very interesting.
Yeah. How was he about you dating another guy then? Did he feel comfortable with it, or did he constantly want to know what you were up to?
I mean, he knew. Oh gosh, he knew about everything, of course. I wasn't comfortable with it, and he wasn't either. But we knew that something had to change. We needed to do something because I had needs that he couldn't fulfill. Because no one is perfect, whatever that is. But then we really spent a lot of time and years to try and figure out how to get out of that. And since he couldn't be all of that for me, he allowed me to find someone that could. And I think in some sense that makes him perfect.
Yeah. And Quincy and Momo, you both have a, can I say, stable relationship? So you explore your kink side together with your partner. Can you tell us a little bit about that process? How do you negotiate, or how do you decide on who to hang out with or hook up with?
Well, I learned it's a few basic principles that are very important, which is communication, expectation management, and trust. And I learned that from this one right here a few years ago. And through that, it has to be wholehearted, it has to be full, and it has to be completely honest. And so when you trust your partner, you set the expectations, even explicitly. Sometimes it feels a little bit weird to just say so explicitly, I'm okay with that, I'm not okay with that, I'm sort of okay with that, let's talk about that, stuff like that. Even if it feels a bit weird to be so explicit, that's how you can set those expectations. Everyone's on the same page. And then, of course, you have to fully trust your partner. I guess it helps me to know. I quickly say, as you were saying, that your partner, your husband, let you go out and meet someone else. I encourage Titan, my alpha, to find other dominants, because I recognize my own limits in being a total and complete sub. I always say, you want to hear a joke? Me as a dom. I mean, it's just not going to happen. So I encourage him to find other people, but I trust him to come home to me. Okay. And that's a premise of a relationship.
Same question?
Yeah, same question.
So in addition to everything these guys say, which is absolutely true, I think in our relationship, it's really important for both he and I to feel valued. So I think there's not a day that goes by that I don't reassure him that I love him or that I care about him. And I think that creates the bond between us, because that's the core of essentially what we do. So if you see him out there with blue hair, say hello. He's here somewhere. But within that, I think for us, we wanted to explore together. We don't necessarily explore separate. We talk about everything. And then after the exploration, I think one of the best parts is we sort of really work to protect our intimacy. So there's certain things that we don't do. So we don't necessarily let people stay the night. We don't necessarily shower with people. No one goes in our bedroom. We have a playroom. And just things like that. And I think that reconnection point after you've sort of opened is sort of in the evening when you're in the bed and you're naked and you're by yourself and you cuddle and you reconnect. And I think that's always the center point for us.
Beautiful. So tell me, what has living your kinks, what has living out your kinks done for you and your relationships?
Was the question?
What has living out your kinks done for your relationship?
It's made me the most sexually satisfied I've ever been in my life.
You look like it, I have to say.
I'm certainly very happy. Now I've really discovered what works for me in terms of fetishes. I actually like to identify as a rubber sex dog more than I do a puppy. And Guillaume helps me live out practically every fantasy I throw at him. And it's very, I must say, having your dom also as your boyfriend, and we love each other and we cherish each other, to share that connection is very deep. I also very much appreciate that he can treat me really like the way I want to.
Yeah.
But then we can also, because he loves me, and that at least brings a deep connection. So, yes, the most sexually satisfied I've ever been in my life.
So yeah, BDSM is a big part of my sexuality, and my sexuality is a big part of me. So I practice it 24/7. Mostly with a lot of communication protocol and stuff like that. I don't walk around tied up or kick people wherever I go. That's not what I mean, but I do love to maintain my dynamics like on a regular daily basis. And since I started practice BDSM, I just feel more myself, fulfilled, more me, just feel more me. I live such a rich life because of BDSM and all the people that I meet within this community. Look at you.
that must bring a lot of happiness as well, right? A lot of joy, a lot of pleasure.
All of that.
Yeah.
All
Because
of
I
that.
think sometimes people forget that when you're living out a kink relationship, sometimes it's seen as like suffering and pain and all those kind of things. But it's also about enjoyment and also love, right?
Yeah, gosh, yes. Momo mentioned love, and I love my partners dearly. It's really hard to engage in deep power exchange dynamics without major feelings getting involved. My idea was not to fall in love with my DS partners, but it's impossible not to. Like, you connect on such a different and deep level, and it's a different kind of love from what I feel for my fiance, for example. The heart has many chambers. Don't forget that. It's possible to love more than one person. Damn it.
Yes. What have you all learned from integrating kink in your relationship? What is the thing that stands out for you?
Okay. For me, it's just a world that's open. So believe it or not, my partner is actually the one who's always pushing the boundaries, and he's a shapeshifter.
Yeah, you're more uptight. Can I say it that way?
Yeah, exactly. I know. I am the more uptight one, and I think without kink in our relationship, I would still be the uptight one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think for me, it's just allowed me to explore, and I think knowing that he's by my side in this exploration journey just makes it a little bit more comfortable. And yeah, we've come light years ahead. So I'm not as uptight as I used to be.
I've learned that there are multiple levels of emotional depth that you need to be aware of and pay attention to. That if you're sharing both a romantic and a BDSM-based relationship, that there's a lot of movement emotionally. Like if you're doing impact play and then you have to do aftercare after, or just how that may impact someone emotionally, or other things like chastity. And also, you could probably speak better to this, but how, and I learned that from you, how if you're in how would you say, polygamous
Polyamorous relationship?
Polyamorous, thank you, where you have, say, 4 people involved in different emotional connections. One decision, one action from someone will impact all 4 in several different ways, and that's something you have to be aware of. You could probably speak better about that. Or you agree?
No, I agree. The chain of command is amazing and very hot to have. A chain of command. I'm trained in alpha slave myself. I had my master. I was the first slave, and then we met a submissive, and all of a sudden I could practice because I'm a switch. Sorry, I never mentioned that, but I'm a switch. You probably figured that out by now. And we found a way to emerge my switchiness into what we were doing. So basically, my master controlled my dominance, and that was so cool. So I had shitloads of protocol about how to dominate. I feel like I'm drifting away from the question now, but I just wanted to mention that.
Let me ask you another thing. You also talked about communication and about honesty, but in what way do you communicate with your partners? What are the levels of communication that you go through?
Oh, the levels of communication, emotional, physical. Communication is since I'm dating a dog right now, which I'm not really used to. I had the opportunity to have 10 good weeks with Momo in the beginning of 2019, and Momo really allowed me to ask all of the stupid questions when it came to puppy play, and I learned a lot during that period. Made me way more comfortable to communicate with a submissive that was much more, what's the word? Not vigorous, but like playful. And I was more used to my own subspace, and my subspace is very calm and collected, slave-like, sir, yes, sir, more machine. And then engaging with a submissive that was moving a lot and communicating so much physically, that was very scary to me. But I'm dating a dog right now or a hyena, bit of a hybrid, and he's communicating a lot with sound and his body, and that's pushing me a lot because I get so much information right away.
And with sound, not words, you mean like barking or?
Oh God, yeah, barking, growling, moaning, laughing. No, a lot. No, but communication is so much. It's not only what we say to each other, it's also how we look at each other, how we hold our body when we talk to someone with a higher status or a lower status than ourselves. Communication is great. It's great fun. Try it. Try communicate, goddammit.
You've been living out your kinks for quite some time with your partner. Could you maybe let us a little bit into your bedroom? What was your most favorite moment? What was the most loving moment, the most mind-blowing thing that has happened to you with your partner while doing what you love to do?
I don't actually know if there's an official word for it, but one of my fetishes recently, I'm not sure why, I'm calling it denial. I just get really turned on if Titan locks me up in all my gear, chastity belt, mitts, padlocks, chains me to the wall, and just like ignores me in the other room while he fucks my friends. We invite some guys from Grindr over sometimes to do that, and I'm like, just ignore me the whole time. I love it. It's such a deep headspace, and we did that in Antwerp in Darklands once, and I just got so deep in that headspace. I got a bit tearful at the end when we had our aftercare. I was hugging him. I was thanking him so much. It was very special.
Cool.
Just want to say quickly, you were a natural handler when we had our 10 weeks. You should give yourself more credit. You were fantastic.
I love this free publicity that you're getting here.
We're just flirting with each other. No, okay, a cool experience. What happened bedroom? Let's say one of my favorite moments was at Darklands, another big event. I don't know if you've heard of it, but I think it was my very first Darklands. I was still owned back then. And, you know, Darklands have improved a lot when it comes to BDSM space. It's more party, more, you know, everything else, fucking and dancing. But BDSM, you don't need a play space to practice BDSM, I learned that year. Because my master put me up, he was like looking for a light space, somewhere where we could see what he was doing to me, because I'm very much into impact play. So, there's fences all over the place. And there was this lit corner. It was the medic's corner, because they needed light, right? So he chained me to the fence in that area and flogged me, and it was public or semi-public. There was just 2,500 people dancing behind me, but within the container, a safe space. And he like verbally also talked me through the session and pushed this flogging that he gave me way more than he usually did. So he was really in dom space. I was gone in subspace, and when he eventually takes me down, I'm crying and sobbing and screaming, and I turn around and there is blood on his face. Then I was like, what the fuck just happened? And that was just so incredible. He had like on his face, and like there was this one drop of blood just coming down his chest, and I was so proud, so proud.
Intense. Everyone is quiet now. Did you notice?
Please tell us.
Right, I have to go after these two. Shit, and remember, I'm the uptight one. Okay, so for me, it's not quite maybe a little more Disneyland compared to that. My partner and I, he's really into bondage, and so we went to learn shibari together. So we did, and we've been practicing, and I'm 99% the one always the dom. And so one day we'd had a great session, and I was sitting there and the ropes were there, and he was like, "Can I tie you up?" And I was like, "Fuck it, why not?" So it was actually the most incredible experience. I wouldn't necessarily identify as a switch, but it was the most incredible experience to sort of experience what he experienced and sort of being able to then funnel that back. Needless to say, I've been tied up a little bit more since then, and we even got a restraint jacket to help speeding up that process, thanks to our 333. But I think that's for me, it's sort of learning to go in his shoes really helps me have these experiences.
Okay, before we close this panel off, one more question. If you could give anyone a tip about how to introduce kink in your relationship, what would it be?
Go slow and talk.
I have to think about that.
Well, it's a matter of confidence. Confidence is not a thing you can just turn on or turn off. You know that. So you need to be comfortable with your partner to be able to, express these things. But I want to say, like, don't think too much about, don't filter things. If you want to communicate with your partner something that you haven't done before, or maybe your partner is kinky and it's way easier, or they're not kinky and you need to break this thick wall to, like, open this new chapter. Don't filter it. Be honest, and because if you then tell your partner, like, I would really love for you to piss on me, for example, and then they're gonna go, whoa, no. But then, you know, tell them why you want to be pissed on. Is it because, you know, of the humiliation or the warm sensation, or it's coming from their genitals, like massive orgasm kind of vibe? Like, try and get to the root of why you want to do what you want to do.
Understanding.
Huh?
Understanding. Like, understand the mindset.
Yeah, it can be really hard to pinpoint what you're into. Sometimes I really struggle to explain to someone what it is that I'm looking for, what I'm after. But I usually talk about feelings. Like, if I meet a new submissive, for example, I don't ask, what are you into, what do you want to do? I usually ask, like, what kind of headspace would you like to be in? What feelings would you like to have during these hours we have together? And then we can, you know, go from there.
Okay.
I would say I thought of what was important to me. Even before, I'd say, you communicate to your partner what it is that you want, what you need. It's very important, I would say. Has anyone else experienced both coming out as LGBT plus, as queer, and then having to come out as kinky? For me, it was very much a second coming out. This is who we are, and that's not going away. So I guess my advice is to recognize that in yourself and love yourself, because your fetish feelings are not going to go away. You're not going to be able to just distract it or think of a reason, oh, right, then I don't need that or this. Because if you really truly are kinky, it's just a part of who you are. So once you can find that love for yourself inside, then you can have the confidence to be honest with your partner, I would say.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for your openness and for sharing your lives, your very personal stories with us. This was our last panel for today. Mr. B also has a raffle for a good cause. You can win a fuck machine. You can buy the raffle tickets at our stand, but also around the Folsom Street Fair. So if you are on the lookout for a fuck machine and you want to get it cheap, €5 for a raffle ticket, and maybe you win this lottery. Thank you so much. Enjoy your Folsom, and see you next year. Thank you so much, everyone.